The Civil Aviation Authority is hosting a two-day National Aviation Conference to discuss safety and fuel security. The conference will provide an opportunity for stakeholders to share their views and insights on these important topics. My colleague, SABC News economics reporter Katlego Legodi is at the conference and joins us live. Katlego, welcome. Take us through what are the most salient points that have been raised today with regards to the aviation sector and its future.
A very good afternoon to you, Diabo, and to our viewers at home. Well, the overarching theme here on day one of this conference is issues of safety, security, and the sustainability of the aviation sector. So we're seeing those within this space just coming into the CSIR Convention Center here in Pretoria to more or less just gather and discuss around development and transformation within this sector. You know very well that what they've been pushing for as SACA over the years has been to ensure that there's zero fatality. Today, we got them just speaking about how then they are faring in terms of the attaining of that zero fatality in the skies. But we know that we are living in a modern era where technology has advanced for quite some time, and we see them as well taking stock, Diabo, on how their sector can be affected or is affected over time by the developments where technology is concerned. There are issues of climate change that have affected the various of these sectors where we see departments just going upon to plan and ensure that there's infrastructure that is intact to withhold these harsh realities or harsh conditions that are pertaining to the inclement weather conditions. So those are some of the discussions that have been taking place in the morning coming into the afternoon. So we see some of those men and women just talking about frank talks. So for the first time we've had a Diabo of the fact that at least what we're hearing from Mike Howe as well is the fact that there's underreporting of some of these incidents and accidents by other countries where issues of regulation, safety and security is concerned. A clarion call from everybody that is here, even those that are international stakeholders, to ensure that they push for transformation in this sector, championing the saving and protecting of human life. I'm going to bring into the conversation now Mr. Tabete. He gave us an incident report. Basically, when you look at what has been happening over time, we see this 8% increase in aviation activity from last year going into this year. And this is where this activity in the sky would want for you to plan proper in terms of ensuring that we bring down the number of fatalities and just make sure that we transform this sector for the better. Welcome to the SABC. Give us a sense of where we find ourselves right now, especially where the issues of incidents, safety, security, and those accidents are concerned.
Yeah. So I think first it's important to clarify the accident statistics that we see. So firstly, there are two sectors within aviation. This is the airline sector where you and I fly between provinces and international. South Africa is class leading, class setting, 37 years almost without an accident in that domain. So we have an impeccable record, bar to none, worldwide standards. Where we see accidents, even then they are on the decline, is in the general aviation sector. This is where a guy takes off on a weekend to go do some flying, smaller operators doing sightseeing and ferrying passengers in small aeroplanes from one place to place. In the general aviation sector, we've seen a number of accidents, but they are declining. And when you compare stats with last year, we are at the break-even point. We recorded 113 accidents in the GA environment. We've seen that number as well, but it comes down significantly by 23% from data from 2 years back. So our safety profile and index is still very positive, and colleagues and professionals are still safe in the skies.
Let's talk about some of those issues that may lead to these incidents and accidents. I mean, here we're also planning for the sustaining of this sector in a way that it will still continue. South Africa would continue leading the pack globally, or just here at home and just playing in the global space where issues of zero fatalities are concerned. Let us in on some of those factors and what are the talks that are being held behind us here that would push to enhance issues of safety and security.
Yeah. So that's actually a good question. So firstly, we have to look at innovation. Post-COVID, we saw accidents increase because, layman's terms, pilots were out of practice. And when they fly less, they lose some of their skills, and therefore they need to go for training. So we've been putting a lot of emphasis on training. 61% of accidents in the GA space are due to pilot errors. But secondly, we also have to acknowledge that flying puts you against elements, environmental issues, bad weather, unplanned changes in weather patterns while you are on a flight can affect how you fly. For instance, if you're flying against wind, you lose efficiency and use more fuel, and it can affect whether or not you get to the next destination. We've also seen that 20% of accidents, a fifth, are caused due to power plant issues. Therefore, we are improving our maintenance aspect, compliance to maintenance issues, proper training in that domain, but also improving our regulations and oversight, because we are a learning institute. We look at global trends, we have conversations, we see that other parts might not have the reliability required, and therefore we use that data insights to improve how we make regulations going forward.
Let's talk about issues of infrastructure development, where this is concerned. You've touched on it, the fact that we have these inclement weather conditions. For instance, we're seeing what is happening in Dubai, whereby planes and aeroplanes are being affected, and even those facilities are affected by this inclement weather conditions. Where are we as South Africa, where just the planning is concerned, in line with issues of inclement weather conditions?
So I think there are three aspects, and I'll touch briefly on the first two. So when you look at our infrastructure, when you look at our airports and aerodromes, you will know that we again have what we'll call world standard. We look at what regulations must be complied with to build and maintain airports, and we're doing well. Our international airports, we have more airports than maybe in most states. They're kept to the best standards. But secondly, aviation is an ecosystem, so it's infrastructure and aeroplanes. They are meant to be able to cope with these sudden weather changes. And even when there's severe storms, we've seen aircrafts land the skill set in South Africa and globally such that you should be able to land an aeroplane even under tough conditions. But our weather patterns, especially regionally, has not been impacted by what we've seen elsewhere. So I think twofold, we have good infrastructure, but our weather patterns have not been so severe that they affect safety.
Mr. Temba Tabeta, thank you very much, sir, for your time. He's coming through as an executive, Diabo, from SACA. They are our host here today, and taking stock really of what we are doing here as South Africa in line with global standards. And SACA are just marking 26 years this year in terms of the work that they've been doing within the industry. They gather these role players, and them is to also just to say that they're learning from each other in ensuring that we maintain our standard. Our standard is positive as South Africa, where aviation is concerned, and they would like to see this sustained as we go along into the year. Diabo is back to you in studio for now.